What up, brothers? You guys ready for another one? We got the Delsol over here. You guys have never met this car or Aaron. He's a good friend of ours, and we're gonna be putting these coils. Tell us a little bit about these coils that you got going on in your hand over here. What is that?
Mono SS Godspeeds. You don't lose shock travel with a mono tube design.
Okay.
Unlike other dual tube designs, they reduce shock travel.
And so right now he's running just a lowered spring, so he doesn't have any adjustment. And how does it ride?
Very similar to stock.
Yeah, so it's still pretty soft?
Yep, yeah, it doesn't bounce hard at all.
Cool.
It settles quick, so it's definitely, I would say, stock as far as feel goes.
Yeah, so we're gonna show you how to do it, what it takes, all the good stuff, you know, typical video. So let's get started. All right, so when it comes to doing these coilovers specifically, they don't have this fork that comes with it, so this is the only part that we're gonna reuse from the original setup here. So once we get this whole unit out of here, then we'll get the fork off and then put it onto the new coilover. So, yeah, we're getting wrapped up over here. Oh. Master over here.
This is fuck.
Get it. Get it.
So we'll mess with that a little bit.
Yeah, so something he did there, it makes all the sense in the world. If you can't get the cotter pin out and you gotta do something special, if you cut enough to where you can get the socket on the nut, then if you use an impact, it'll just spin it around and get rid of it, and then you can punch the cotter pin out the other side once you get it off, so you don't have to fight with trying to get it out.
Yep.
Yep. Already. Yep.
Oh, I didn't even get it, guy. It was that
Watch
easy.
this, ready?
Oh, pulled it right out.
Look at it fall out.
She's out. A big long pry bar, a tree limb, whatever you get. Chippy J, what did you find out about this holder over here?
Oh, dude. See, what they do here is obviously somebody designed this with some brains. They see this sway bar here. The way to get that extended nut. It's perfect.
Oh my
where the outer
Whoa, dude, look at that.
It's
just hangs out
I
right
just
in there.
knew somebody was, you know,
Get it on that. Don't forget to remove the brake line. You're gonna have a bad day otherwise.
Oh, here we go. That's the fun.
This is the trick here. So when he hits this one, the whole ball joint's spinning. So the way you want to fix this is you get a jack underneath of it and actually press it back up into the ball joint so that it keeps the ball joint itself from spinning, and then you can release it.
What? Don't get any more juice.
Just beautiful.
Beautiful.
So that's how you do that if you got that problem.
Yeah, don't worry, that ain't doing it.
Back with a hammer one time, it'll probably go right out the other side.
Right out the other side.
Dude, it will.
Best way to get these axles out, if you have an air hammer, is to use a little pointing one. So you have this little hole in there that goes right into it, so it's a nice way to hammer it out. But if you don't, just like that. But if you don't, put the nut on it and wheel the nut back on all the way till it's flush, and you can hammer it that way. That's the way it doesn't collapse the threads when you go to hammer the axle out.
Yep, we're good. It's actually ideal because we're off that now, so it's good.
Now the back side here is way easier. You don't have all the extra knuckle work that we have to do in the front.
That side that we forgot.
Hold on, what happened, Jake? What happened?
Well, obviously, somebody forgot to put the axles in it.
What? Wait, what? There's no axles in there?
No, dude.
What the hell's going on here?
There's a little tag, John.
There's no engine in there.
Dude, that's for towing.
It's one of those little plastic tabs they have on your clothes. It is, you can't get it out. It's too big.
It's for towing.
Fell into your trunk, never came out.
It's this little boy. And
It's a 14 to get these bad boys.
Could use some juice on those.
Ooh,
yeah, gotta.
see, it's almost out, but it's still in there, people.
Inevitably, just like Squinder, there is.
Yep, after that. Just jack her up. What's that say? Lick it?
Yeah, you don't want to do that right now. Yeah, dude, thank God.
If you get in a predicament like this and you can't get the bolt out, get a little crowbar or something, punch, and then you can punch it out that way. Here we're just gonna use the air hammer to throw it through that hole. Bingo.
Yeah, let's swing it out. Done.
What? Repeat procedure on the other side.
Rinse it.
You gotta resort to violence. It ain't working.
All right, go ahead.
We're gonna abort mission here.
Yeah, if we're gonna do it, I might as well heat it and really.
The bushing on this is getting, you can't even see it, but it's starting to strip and tear, and it's not gonna work out. So we're gonna, and the bolt's starting to stretch. We don't know if it's gonna break or not, so we're about to try it right now, see what happens. Oh, there it goes. She broke. Not that far in there either, so what we're gonna have to do is cut this bolt off, the welded nut on here, cut it off, and then hammer it out.
Oh, my bag's gonna catch on fire.
Oh yeah. Still hot in there.
Try and hammer it down now, the bolt out.
Obviously torn to shreds, but
Yeah, it really doesn't look that bad. It's beat
at least
up,
the bushing's still in there.
but the bushing's still pretty good in there. I wonder if we didn't break it loose. I wonder if it just spun enough.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. It's time to drill it. We don't have any other options. So a really good way to get into these and make sure you're actually drilling center. See how there's a center punch. It's kind of hard to see in there. But these tools here, they go into the hole and then they have a punch right in the middle. So you don't have to worry about making sure that it's center when you're punching it to do a drill out. It does it for you. Super easy. I'll put them in the description below, so if you guys are interested, check them out. Don't forget the cutting oil, boys. Saves the drill bit.
What up, peeps? Your boy Chippy J. Got the hole out. And then what we gotta do one's in the trunk. Yeah. They tell you it takes 3 hours. Look at that shit. Just peel the carpet back. Shit's all right there. And what, probably 14s. They are 14s. And then same one outside.
So go again. You just described it to me. How to adjust these things.
So to set the spring preload, you adjust this one. You adjust this top collar up and down. That sets your preload on the spring itself.
Okay.
The bottom collar locks to the top collar to lock in the preload. To adjust the height, you loosen the bottom collar, the very bottom collar, up off the spring and the bottom of the shock. And then you spin both of them as a unit to pull the whole
entire.
Yep, and it pulls this, and this whole thing screws down.
And that's what's adjusting your ride height.
Yep.
So this is what he's doing right now. He's adjusting his ride height. Did you guys do the spring tension already?
So they come preset from the factory, but on that one we had messed with it, so we did have to reset it. They recommend you loosen the top collar down so that you can free spin the spring pretty much similar to this, but it would have a lot less tension on it. And then run them both together, and then begin to tighten the top one to put this preload on it until you have the width of a spanner wrench in between the two. Then you run the second collar up to lock the preload in.
And so now, how are you guys? You're setting the height right now, and how are you measuring it to get all of that to where you want it to be?
The other side. We measured from the center. We put a black line so we have an exact point to the top of the fender well.
Okay.
So we just take that measurement and we're going to repeat it on the same side. To set it originally, we used the tire as a guide to see about where that was. Took a pull jack up underneath the trailing arm to compress the whole.
So this jack we use here just to compress the whole thing to put it at ride height.
We measured that essentially to see how far
Where it's gonna sit.
Yep.
Oh, I want to see. Is it gonna be all tucked up under there?
A little bit. After we do all this, we're gonna tighten the shocks to be at max hardness, so that
Okay.
there isn't excessive bounce, so that when I do hit bumps and stuff, it's not rocking.
Gotcha. And obviously that is completely up to the driver of what he wants as far as stiff or hard.
But if you're not
That's
gonna roll
the
your
right
fenders,
height. Yeah, if you're not gonna roll your fenders, you definitely wanna make sure you're not gonna be going into that, so. Well, since these boys are getting rowdy, getting a little hungry, it's time for me to make the run and go get some food for them. Ooh, now that we're all fed, back to the games. So the way these forks come on and off, the struts, is you see the bolt there. It comes out. Sometimes it can be a real pain pulling the struts out of that fork. So the best way to do it is get a little chisel, a tapered chisel, and hammer it in there to split it open a little bit. And then you sometimes have to hammer it out as well. But a little encouragement, it'll come right off.
bring it on, man.
About, jacking up the control arm so you can slide it right in. Don't forget to anti-seize your bolts so they don't seize up inside, just like that back one we had to deal with earlier.
I'm coming in this way.
She's in.
Bingo.
Actually feels great.
This one is really cool.
Time to bring her down. Just setting the height, see if the adjustments are right. And if you guys have watched the other video, putting the lowering springs on beams G37, you always gotta make sure you jump on the car so you set the spring height, because it's not gonna be exactly the same when you first put it down. Ooh, so here she is. Squatted down.
Yeah, definitely sat in front.
Look at all this.
So this is what it looks like all the way soft. Now it's all the way hard. Oh yeah, you can definitely tell a difference.
Yeah, you can feel it.
And if you guys are wondering, this is actually as low as the fronts will go. So if you guys are looking for a little more low, you might want to try something different. But is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean,
like
it's
that?
not bad at all.
Yeah, I like the tuck. Now the backs are not as low as they'll go, right?
No, the back could go probably another inch or two. Look.
You got all over the world.
Look at all that room.
How is it?
You can go down another quarter inch. If I didn't catch it in the last footage right there, we have a little bit higher ride height on that driver's side. So what we're gonna do is just lower that side down a little bit in the rear only. The fronts are as low as they're gonna get in the front, so you're not gonna touch that. But the backs on the one side is just a little higher, so we're gonna lower that one down and get it to the ride height of the rest of the car. Shit. What are you gonna do now? Changing light colors?
Yeah, Dad, check it out.
Where'd you get this anyway?
Amazon?
There are LED halos on Amazon?
Yep, and then they wire into a single unit. Both of them wire to a single unit, which you wire to one switch, which clearly is that one.
It's hard to see on camera. Hold on, let me get this lighting right, because these are actually halos. There we go. Check them out.
See, now you gotta cut the light in half.
Ready?
Oh, look at that. That's cool.
And you can change the brightness. Oh yeah, any color I want.
You got a full spectrum on that.
The whole thing.
That's super cool.
I mean, and it even has like the settings, like you can go to like particular.
Oh, wow. Dude, the party lights.
You get big trouble for that shit though.
It's just LED halos?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if any of you guys are into those LED halos, I'll put them in the description below so you can check them out. And last but not least, don't forget to lock her down when you're done. Otherwise, you may not have the same height when you go back. Or you might lose something.
Free floating ride height.
Yeah, why not, dude? Forget the static lights.
It's like airbags.
Yeah, it's like airbags, but even better.
It's actual static.
Oh, and another thing too, just remember when you're lowering, if the side to side or front to back is different and you want to get them even, so say it's like a quarter inch off as far as from one side to the other, you got to adjust either just one side, because when you lower it on one side, it's going to affect the height on the other side.
Yeah.
So just make sure that you're getting it down even. So if it's a half an inch on one side over the other, you make sure it's a quarter on one side and it'll compensate on the other side. All right, guys, so that's a wrap.
Like, subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Like this guy says, if you like the Delsol stuff, wash your hands, clean yourself, get it done. Dude, but that's a wrap, fellas. If you guys like what we got going on, just like and subscribe. Let us know what you guys think too. If you have any questions, I'm pretty good about keeping up on our comments and answering any questions that you guys do have. All that stuff will be in the description below. And if you like Delsols, keep watching. I'm sure Aaron will be showing up more on this channel here. He plans on putting a K20 in this thing later. He already has the engine and transmission. It just needs to be built and put in. May not happen very soon, but you know, it is going to come. So just stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next one. Later, brothers.